New York City also has a potentially devastating problem with its drinking water infrastructure. America's largest metropolis consumes 1.2 billion gallons of water a day. That water comes to New York by way of a system of aqueducts that carry it from lakes and rivers more than 100 miles away. The aqueducts are mostly underground, and one of them, the 85-mile-long Delaware Aqueduct, is the longest continuous tunnel in the world. It's 13.5 feet in diameter, between 300 and 1,500 feet in the ground, and 70 years old.
You have maybe the best water supply system for any city anywhere on the planet. It's not pumped, it just flows naturally by gravity from its origins under the Hudson River south into the city of New York. But eventually it's going to begin to decline and begin even to fall apart.
The Delaware Aqueduct is leaking massively. Every day, the giant pipeline pours between 10 and 36 million gallons of water into the earth around it, mostly through a pair of cracks that have developed in a geologically stressed section of the tunnel.
The pipe has eroded to a point where it can no longer support the movement of that water. There are communities that are around that pipe, and literally they're flooding from underneath. And the result is here that they're sinking into the ground.
The loss of those 36 million gallons is not regarded too seriously by the recipients of the water, by the government of New York City, because in the context of the huge water supply, it isn't that much. But the fact of the matter is that it's having a very negative effect on the lives of people living here in the community.
We know for certain that some water reaches the surface. How much of an impact that has on the individual properties, I mean, we're anxious to find that out.
Much of the leaking water appears to be bubbling to the surface in Wawarsing, New York, a small town 1.5 hours north of New York City. It has the bad luck to be situated just above one of the pipe's massive leaks. The water seeps upwards through limestone, rock, and soil through a process known as capillarity. Surface tension, the tendency of a liquid to be attracted to another surface, causes the water to rise up against the flow of gravity through pores and other narrow openings in the earth. Some 50 homes and families have been hard hit by a host of seepage problems.
The house could fall down tomorrow.
Yeah, we don't know what our foundations are like. The water comes right up through the floor like a faucet.
The yard's sinking, so next is the house. What's going to happen? Who knows?
This is the hole that I fell into. Had I taken maybe another step or two, they would have had to dig me out.
We have everything up on stilts.
Because the water level will get up that high.
One year it was way up to here. It was much higher.
It's
It's
really
a nightmare.
bad.
It's a nightmare.
It is a nightmare.
In addition to flooded basements and sinkholes, Wawarsing residents have also had problems with their drinking water. Water moving through the ground is hazardous, especially in communities with drinking water wells and septic tanks. Groundwater can move through the septic tanks and carry fecal matter and other contaminants into the wells, creating the ultimate water nightmare: E. coli coming out of the tap.
We use bottled water for just about everything you can imagine you need water for. You know, washing your face in the morning, brushing your teeth, rinsing your produce with, cooking your food, and even taking a shower.
The Delaware Aqueduct was built in the 1930s and 40s and rushed into service during World War II, when high-grade materials were scarce. During construction, groundwater seeped so heavily into the section under Wawarsing that engineers had to line the aqueduct with steel and seal it with concrete.
The tunnel went through a limestone fault at that spot, and it's not surprising that now we're faced with leakage.
A full inspection of the tunnel is currently impossible. The Delaware Water Tunnel hasn't been shut down for inspection since 1957 because engineers fear it could collapse without the pressure of water surging through the system. But planning is underway for an eventual shutdown. New York's Department of Environmental Protection recently sent divers into a water release shaft adjacent to the aqueduct to see what's in store. The state is still years away from beginning to fix the Delaware leaks, which will take at least 5 more years to complete. Meanwhile, New Yorkers and the people of Wawarsing live with the possibility the leaks could get worse.
Worst case scenario here in the town of Wawarsing would be a total collapse of the aqueduct and an unfathomable amount of water making its way to the surface would completely engulf this community.
America's infrastructure is collapsing. We've had some shocking glimpses. The levees in New Orleans, the interstate bridge that went down in Minneapolis, the massive East Coast blackout of 2003.
Imagine a month-long blackout. Imagine major failures of water delivery system in the West. Imagine levee breakdowns that can't be repaired.
We're headed down the road, without much exaggeration, to being a second world or a third world country.
This is the United States of America. Why is our infrastructure in such bad shape?